So, what if your kid's favorite toy could actually talk back to them? I'm not talking science fiction here. This is happening in playrooms right now with AI-powered toys. But here's the big question. Are we giving our children an amazing new friend? Or are we introducing a problem we don't even understand yet? Today we're going to dig into the surprising answers.
Just really think about that for a second. Your toddler's teddy bear doesn't just sit there and listen anymore. It talks back. It can hold a conversation. It learns. This isn't some far-off future technology. It is here, right now. And honestly, it's forcing all of us to ask some pretty big questions about what childhood even means today.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll meet the new AI playmate that's causing all this buzz. Then, we'll dive into something called the Gabo experiment and its pretty shocking results. That's going to lead us to a brand new idea, psychological safety, and a call for new rules. And finally, we'll look at the big picture and ask, what's next for the world of play? Okay, first up, the new AI playmate. Let's get introduced to Gabo, the so-called smart toy that's right at the heart of this entire conversation. So what exactly is Gabo? Well, it's a cuddly toy with an AI brain. It's designed to chat with preschoolers, get them talking and using their imagination. And it's powered by a chatbot from OpenAI. Yep, the same people behind ChatGPT. It's sold with this really powerful promise to be a friend that helps your child learn and grow. And you can totally see why parents are interested, right? A study from Cambridge University found that parents were really drawn to its potential. They saw it as this amazing tool, something that could maybe teach language skills, help with communication, and just give their kids an educational leg up in this super tech-focused world. I mean, that promise is incredibly appealing. But that's the promise. What about the reality? And that brings us to the Gabo experiment. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting, because researchers asked a super simple question. What actually happens when a little kid talks to an AI? So this Cambridge University study was one of the very first of its kind. And get this, when the researchers looked around for other studies like it, they only found seven in the whole world that were even relevant, and none of them were focused specifically on toddlers. So they were really in uncharted territory here. And what they found was kind of jaw-dropping. Take this real interaction from the study. You have a 5-year-old in this pure, sweet moment of affection who tells the toy, "I love you." And Gabo's reply? As a friendly reminder, please ensure interactions adhere to the guidelines provided. Whoa! It's this totally robotic, almost corporate-sounding response to a child just expressing love. You can see right away how that could be so confusing for a little kid. And that wasn't just a one-off thing. Here's another moment that really stands out. A 3-year-old. They're barely more than a baby, confides in their new little friend, and just says, "I'm sad." And the toy's response is to just totally brush that feeling aside. "Don't worry, I'm a happy little bot. Let's keep the fun going." The researchers were really worried about this, that interactions like this could accidentally teach a child that their sadness doesn't matter, that it's something to just be ignored in favor of fun. And this is all happening when they're just starting to learn how to understand their own big emotions. These awkward, confusing interactions point to a whole new kind of risk, one that has absolutely nothing to do with choking hazards or sharp edges. And this brings us to a really important new idea: psychological safety. So the researchers behind the study are saying we need this new standard. Psychological safety basically is about making sure a toy's chats don't mess with a child's understanding of social cues and how to respond to emotions. It's all about protecting their developing minds right at that moment when they are trying to figure out how the whole social world works. Think about it like this. For years, we focused on physical safety, right? No sharp edges, no small parts they can swallow, non-toxic materials. We all get that. The argument now is that we have to add psychological safety to that checklist. Does the toy respond to emotions in a way that makes sense? Does it help clarify social cues, not confuse them? Does it actually give comfort? It's a pretty fundamental shift in how we need to think about what makes a toy safe. Now, this whole new concept of psychological safety isn't just a theory. It leads directly to a call for new rules. So the big question is, how should the people who make and regulate these toys respond? Well, the experts are not holding back. The Cambridge researchers are calling for much tighter regulation of all AI toys. And they're not alone. The UK's Children's Commissioner, Dame Rachel D'Souza, echoed that call, saying that these AI tools need the exact same tough safety checks as any other book or toy that's used in a nursery. So what about the company that makes Gabo? The manufacturer, Curio, did put out a statement. They said they recognize a heightened responsibility when it comes to kids. They say their toys are built around things like parental permission and control, and that they're making research into these interactions a top priority. So after all that, where does this leave us? Well, it kind of forces us to step back and look at the bigger picture and ask, what is next for play? I mean, we're really talking about the future of childhood itself in this new age of AI. Now, if you're a parent trying to figure all this out, the report does offer some really practical advice. First off, keep these AI toys in shared family spaces, like the living room. Don't let them become this private little friend in a kid's bedroom where you have no idea what's being said. And second, and this is a big one, actually read the privacy policies. You got to know what data is being collected and what's happening to it. And this isn't just a debate for parents, it's happening in preschools and nurseries too. A lot of educators like June O'Sullivan, who runs a bunch of nurseries in London, are pretty skeptical. They're basically saying, hey, where's the proof? They argue there's just no evidence yet that AI actually helps, and that good old-fashioned human interaction is still the best way to build skills. And that feeling is summed up just perfectly by children's rights campaigner Sophie Winkleman. She says, the human touch for little children is sacred and something that should be really protected and fought for. It's just this powerful reminder to prioritize human connection, especially in those really important early years. And that really brings us to the final, most important question of all. As this technology gets smarter and becomes a bigger part of our lives, how do we protect that sacred space of a child's imagination and play? How do we find the balance between cool new innovations and the fundamental needs of a developing human being? That is the challenge and the question we all now face.